Hello, and welcome back to the channel for another video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing why do Toyota owners hate the third generation 4Runner so much, and why do they love the third generation 4Runner so much. So first, we're going to start with a brief little kind of like history of the 4Runner. This is a 2002, the last year from the 96 to 2002 third generation platform 4Runner. It is a body on frame truck, and this is, I believe, where Toyota wanted to separate themselves from the two previous Toyota generations that they had prior. And it was the 90s. It was the big, boom in the sports utility vehicle world, where you had everybody from Ford, Chevy, you even had, Mitsubishi coming out with their sport utility vehicle. You had even Isuzu and Honda collabing together, creating the Isuzu Rodeo / Honda Passport, which was essentially the same thing, being that I owned one in high school, which was, it was a pretty cool little SUV. But then you had Toyota with the 4Runner, and they kind of just wanted to make a statement on their own, and all of these vehicles were competing against the Jeep, which was probably the biggest name in the sport utility world, at least in my mind or my opinion. So you had something like this, a SR5 Toyota 4Runner Sport Edition, which got a couple more features rather than just your basic SR5, like a set of wheels, seats, sport hood, but you only got this in like 2001, 2002. Then you had the limited series, which was the basically, the highest trim or highest platform you could go with these. So Toyota wanted to make that statement, and they definitely did. These had two different engine options, I believe a 2.7, and then this one has a 3.4. I believe in the early 90s or the mid 90s, when this platform first came out, there was a 3.0 engine that was just total dog shit. And then they revised the engine, and then you got the 3.4, which is one of Toyota's most reliable engines still out there. Like, you can see these things, 400,000 or 500,000 miles, original engine and transmission, as long as you take care of valve cover gasket leaks and just your regular basic maintenance, like the timing belt and all that good stuff. So now that we've broken down kind of a rough, brief history of the vehicle and kind of talked about this vehicle, why do Toyota owners like Lexus, even if you're a Lexus owner, you're still a Toyota owner, Land Cruiser owners, and other, 4Runner owners, like 5th gen owners, you could be a 4th gen owner. I don't know. Why do these people hate the 3rd gen so much? And I'll give you my biased opinion, but then I'll try to answer that as well. So my opinion is, I believe the 3rd gen 4Runner is the best platform or best generation 4Runner there is. And to sum it up, the reliability to these, what you can do with them off-road capability, or the off-road capability that they have, and the everyday daily drive ability that's still there even after you're lifted like mine, and if you do everything right. But the reliability is just there. I think it looks good. I think it looks better than most 5th gens, and I like it just the way it looks versus the 4th gen. Of course, I'm not a big fan of how those look, unless maybe an aftermarket one is done upright. And then the 1st and 2nd generation, those are really cool. They're cool to see in a while, especially like a really clean one. But it's just something about the 3rd gens where I think they got everything right with it. Now, of course, the 3rd gen has its own problems, just like any other platform or any other sport utility vehicle, like the rust on the frame, the kind of the leaks in the valve, cover, kind of just leaks kind of here and there and everywhere. But I feel like at the same time, they still got everything right. So that's why Toyota owners probably hate hearing about how reliable this thing is. But they also, I definitely know that unless they're selling their own maybe 3rd gen 4Runner, when you see these on Marketplace or you see these for sale, like a private party sale, they are priced ridiculously high. And I can agree with that. Even a clean one, even a factory clean one, like how I got this one, there's no rust in the frame. It's been taken care of. It hasn't been modified. people are still asking way too high for these. But that's the thing, is the reason that they carry that value and people price them so high is because of how reliable they are. And people are just going to talk about how reliable they are and keep talking about it. So I think Toyota owners that, don't own a third gen, they might own some other platform of a Toyota, or they might own a different generation of a 4Runner. They just really hate hearing about people talk about these. And, if you want to go buy one, they're just ridiculously high. So you see in Marketplace or something like that, if you're part of a page where people, get in the comments section and, pretty much try to drag the owner like, oh, I know what I have. It's worth this. And, oh, it's not worth that at all. You're selling this way too high, but, put the shoe on the other foot and, where would they sell theirs? And what price would they sell theirs? So I think that's why Toyota owners kind of hate the third gen 4Runner, in my opinion, because just how annoying things are with these. Unless somebody maybe has had a bad experience with these, I honestly wouldn't know. I've never met anybody or talked to anybody that has. Usually the old saying is that I've heard, since owning a 4Runner is when you own a third gen 4Runner, or you own a 4Runner at all, or a Toyota Tacoma or something like that, you never get rid of it unless you're trading up into a different Toyota. That's basically it. So the only way that a lot of people get out of these third gen 4Runners if the frame is just entire rust, just crap, and there's no saving it, so they just go find another one. So let's talk about why people love these. And I'm going to kind of go through just a little quirky stuff that this 4Runner has and just some of the features and stuff like that. So if you've seen me talk about this before and you follow on the channel, or you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe for the future content on this build and other builds. There's a lot of stuff on the channel that has gone over how I built this vehicle over the past year of owning it. So I'm still new to the Toyota game. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe for the future content. Make sure to hit that like button, because it does help the channel through the algorithm, and lets people see, just this kind of side hobby of a channel, post various videos of whatever on the channel. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. Why people love the 4Runner. So already had the hood pre-popped, so we got the old hood struts on it. But something like this, the reliable 3.4, I honestly forgot what the engine is called. So like I said, I'm not so familiar with the entire Toyota game. I probably need to get caught up on it a little bit. But this engine right here, this engine has been known to go over 600,000 miles, and I have seen a few go over 400-something thousand miles. Original engine, original transmission. As long as you take care of, like I said, the valve cover gaskets. You can see this valve cover is a lot shinier than this side, because last year when I got this, that side had to be replaced and this side just had to be tightened down. So no leaks at all. The only complaint that I see a lot of people have, in which I would as well, is where the oil filter is, right somewhere down there. So no matter how you take the oil filter off, it's going to just create a mess of oil. And a lot of shops and a lot of people, when they do an oil change, don't really care and clean up everything. So if you get under there, there's a little bit of it looks like an oil leak. It's not. It's just, oil from the oil filter every time it's changed. But I'm a person that cleans my vehicle. Try to, at least. I still need to get under here and clean it. But let's get into also other reasons why this thing is just loved. The reliability to the engine, the easy maintenance, in my opinion, you can do with these. But like I said, every platform has its, negative side, I guess, or problems, like the lower ball joints, the radiator. You always want to change the radiator, but don't mind the mess, because this is an everyday, daily driven vehicle that has been modified to a certain extent. It is a small utility vehicle, obviously, but if you're a person that loves sunroofs, it's a great vehicle to drive. And this little cool button right here, you can roll that back window right there, that back window, up and down. So beach trips, summer trips, mountain trips in the spring, or even in the fall, are great with this. And I feel like, even as old as the interior is, the reliability carries over into the interior as well, because everything is just still the plastics are not, when you like an old, like the Mustang I have, when I do that, you can hear the plastic like brittle or the little clips and stuff shake. You don't really hear it, you know, with this. Like, you don't, this is not, as many times as this thing has been off and on, it's still there. Nothing's really breaking. The door panels are still, you know, held on. You can just see kind of, there's no real big gap. The back side of the vehicle, you know, same. Everything's still there. Even, you know, the trim panels, I try to keep the vehicle clean, like the carpet, you know, the back seats. This vehicle does get driven a lot, so, but like the roof liner, obviously I'm probably talking about how I've kept the vehicle and how the previous owners have kept this vehicle clean. The interior's clean, you know, the seat covers and stuff like that on it. But you have, you know, even cool options like the rear heat, you know, for passengers. The cup holders, amazingly, still are intact, work. There they are. So basically what I'm trying to say is, like, the gaskets and stuff, well, you know, there's a bunch of stuff I could keep continuously talking about with this vehicle. But when you look into the interior, to the front, where you're the driver, the passenger in the front, all the way to the back, everything holds up. And that's just the reliability and why people love these vehicles, because you can take them, you can, you know, take them off road, you can work, you know, use them for work, or use them for everyday daily use like me, beat them up a little bit, and they still hold their value. They're still reliable. They're not breaking stuff like the Mustang. And the Mustang obviously is a whole different animal, or a whole different car. But at the same time, you think of how Ford built the Mustang. Do you think that they built the Ford Explorer during those years any different? I think that they just used, you know, the same cheap plastic parts and stuff, like a partsman vehicle. And this is a partsman vehicle as well too, but it's not a Lexus, it's not a high-end Toyota, but the quality is still there. And you could just see that, you know, Toyota took care of everything, or wanted a good, reliable vehicle. That's the thing about it. That's why people buy these things, and that's why, you know, these vehicles are just so kind of priced high and sought after. That's why I think the third gen 4Runner was done right. That's why people want these. That's one of the many reasons I have why it's my favorite platform, or 4Runner, versus the 4th gen and the 3rd gen. Or sorry, not the 3rd gen, the 5th gen. And we own a 5th gen. We've owned it, you know, since 2020. The technology's there. It's a great vehicle, but it's just something about the rugged look about these 3rd gens. The 1st and 2nd gen, like I said, look really clean, done up right. They're a great old vehicle, but this one just kind of separates itself as its own identity, in my opinion, when Toyota wanted to change it up and give this 4Runner its own kind of platform and own identification. Let's just say that, identity, or an identification, to where it wasn't like the previous two. And when it comes to the 4th gen, I'm not a big fan. I think it's just that in between. It still looked like a 3rd gen, but it looked like a 5th gen as well. So it was like, where do we want to take it? Where do we want to go with it? And, you know, the technology was definitely updated in the 4th gen. But I just think these look better. They're more rugged. I think it looks more of like a beast you would see off-roading and, you know, daily driving. You know, to me, when I pass a 4th gen, I don't really turn my head and to take a second look at it. When I see another 3rd gen, especially done up right, I'll definitely break my neck for it. And another thing that just a small quirky stuff, this also has the ball chiller, or the ball heater, whatever you want to call it. I didn't mention that in my last video, but this little right here, especially, it comes into play during the summertime when you have the AC on, and during the, you know, right now in the winter. And another thing, the locking gas cap, or gas door, I mean. So obviously, gas cap. I just think that's kind of cool. A lot of, you know, vehicles don't have that nowadays. So it's just a small quirky stuff that definitely make this 4Runner stand out versus other 90s and early 2000s sport utility vehicles. And like I said, when they're done up right, when you park your car, and if you don't look back at it when you're walking into whatever store, like, you know, I'm about my opinion. So this video is probably very obviously biased. I'm a 3rd gen owner, and I haven't owned a 4th gen at all. We own a 5th gen, but I still stand to where, my opinion, I still stand by it. So overall, such a great, reliable vehicle. And I know Land Cruiser owners and Lexus owners and other 4Runner owners probably hate hearing the same stuff and seeing something posted on Marketplace like, why is it so high? It is what it is. It's that person's vehicle, and it's, their opinion, like me. So, but it's just a vehicle I've definitely come to appreciate a lot, especially after this entire last year of putting this thing together and then seeing how this vehicle has turned out. It's by far my favorite vehicle I've owned, and that's even over the Mustang. Not fast by any means, but just a vehicle I know I can get into every day, have no real issue with, and have done all this aftermarket stuff too. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you appreciate this kind of like why Toyota owners hate, and then why do Toyota owners love this platform. Like I said, my opinion is my opinion, and this little brief summary history of the vehicle itself. If I did butcher anything or got something wrong, that's on me. You can always correct me in the comments. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you subscribe, like the channel, like the video, explore the channel, and there's going to be plenty of other stuff coming this year to the channel. So that's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.